Hi, welcome to rcpylon.tv. Today's video is about an Bandito Formula One racer from the 70s. Irwin Funderburk designed this airplane and won the 1975 Nats and the 1977 NMPRA championship race. This was my father, Jim Stegall's last Formula One. It had a little accident on takeoff, and I've sold the airplane. And I'm basically recording this so that people can see the plane and so that I have memories of it later on. My father, Jim Stegall, produced the Stegall Minnow in the 70s and was quite successful with that airplane. We made a whole bunch of them. I laid up a lot of polyester fuselages in the 70s. And Dad just wanted to try something different. And like I said, Irwin was having a lot of success with this airplane. This airplane was kind of unique because of the way the servo mounts in the wing, and also the mini pipe coming out the bottom of the cheek cowl solved the problem of the mini pipe running into the wing on a mid-wing airplane. Irwin was quite creative, still is. He's a really fun guy to hang around with. But this airplane has a few dings on it. But I'm going to take the wing off and let you see the inside of the wing. The servo was actually inserted from the bottom, which means you got to do a little playing around with the push rods. You don't have to lay one out this way. And when I say you don't have to lay one out this way, what I mean is that these airplanes are actually going to be available soon. I have the molds for it. And I'll be producing the fuselages, but in epoxy instead of polyester. So I'll have a fiberglass and foam kit. I'm sure Scott Hartman will like that because he's a great builder, and I'm going to have to get one to Scott. I just have the spinner taped on. And what I'm going to do is take the cowl off. I'd like to see a peek at the engine compartment. It had a dowel that held it in, and you can see the mini pipes at a slight angle. Irwin and Dad made these little angle shim pieces so that the pipe would point down, and it's held on by a spring. And it's got silicone under the pipe itself, and you can see the needle valve here. I've got to take this engine out and clean it and possibly run it. So here you can see the engine compartment. It had an opening behind the firewall to bring the fuel tuning out and to get to the front of the tank. A lot of modelers today would cringe at that with their Q40s, but the goal was to have things accessible and workable. And these, I believe, were Tayton mounts. I can't see the writing on it because this one's got paint on it. And it's got a fuel shut off because these engines had no carburetor. They just have a Venturi like a Q40 engine. This engine actually still turns over, but it feels a little rough. So before I send it to its new home, I may take it apart, but quite honestly, I think what I'm going to do is let the person that's receiving the engine. This particular engine was another one I found in a box that Dad had. I don't think it's the original engine for this airplane, but it may be because it had the angle on the exhaust as well. So, and I don't remember my father having more than one of these airplanes. So the engine still turns over. This was the K&B Schnurl rear intake, rear exhaust engine. In Formula One, the first popular engine was the K&B Torpedo 40. It was pretty much the engine to have when Formula One started. Then K&B came out with the snurl-ported side exhaust rear intake engine. It was designed by some of the control on speed guys and of course K&B. And the snurl porting really enhanced the performance of the engine. And with the rotary disc on the back, the crankshaft is very large, and it's got, you can see a big housing here where it has a couple big bearings, and it had a stud like Dub Jet does his engines, so that if you bent the stub, you didn't necessarily bend the crankshaft. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the head off and the front housing off of this one. The rear intake is glued on, and the glue's over one of the screws, and I don't want to disturb it because it may be just fine opening it up from the front and the head. And I just want to get a quick peek at it and see if this one's better than the other engine was. So I'm going to get my .440 wrench, because I'm sure that's what this probably used. Yeah, this engine's nice and clean, and the ABC sleeve and cylinder look good in it. It's definitely been run, but the cylinder will come out. It's got a nice pinch to it. And then we'll take off the front housing. The thing I took this engine apart, it's got grass in it. So I would say it hit the ground. The bearings are a little rough, so I'm going to send this engine on to the person who bought the plane and let him decide what he wants to do to it. With it being in the condition it's in, it needs some work, and I think its new owner will like the fact that he has the opportunity to clean it up. I did let some of the grass fall out of it. If you like nostalgia Formula One Pylon racers, I have the molds for this airplane, and I also have the molds for the Stegall Minnow in versions 2 through 4 or 2 through 5. I can't remember how many versions there were. But I have all but the very first version of the Stegall Minnow molds. Kits will be around $150, about the same price as a Prather Tony was back in the 80s. So if you like to build and you like Formula One airplanes, send me an email. The email address is on the intro to the video. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more on rcpylon.tv.